Hi, this is Helen Hardiman of Hardiman Law, and you're listening to Six Wheels Consulting Disability Podcast with my favorite guy, Matthew Shapiro.
Sweet.
Welcome to the Sixth Wheels Consulting Podcast, dialoguing disability and discussing difference, inclusion, and all abilities in today's world. Now here are your hosts, Matthew Shapiro and Bob Nolly.
Oh, the hits just keep on coming. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Six Wheels Consulting Disability Podcast. I'm Dr. Bob Nolly, and here is my friend, our host, Matthew Shapiro. Young man, how are you?
I'm great, Bob. How are you? It's good
great.
to hear your voice, sir.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. That's so kind. Same to you.
Thank you.
We have gone down the road and kind of dissected your life's work, just about all of the things you've done here and the things you're working on. You show no signs of letting up. And one thing that intrigued me, being a hometown guy here myself, is the work you're doing with PlanRVA.
Yes, I have gotten connected with them over the last. I had been connected with them a couple years ago, and then sort of stepped away for a little bit, and then got connected with an amazing young lady. Her name is Rebecca, and she works with PlanRVA, and she was a graduate of VCU, like me, and she had to do she decided to do her master's thesis on thinking about making transportation and everything more accessible to people with disabilities. And so probably 2 or 3 years ago now, I saw an article that she was in, and I reached out to her and said, "Hey, this is one of my passion areas. Would love to, to..."
Alert from calendar.
Sorry.
Therapy session with Emma Rixman.
Oh, jeepers. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'll take care of that.
Got connected with my friend Rebecca, and she is a planner. She went to school for planning and whatnot, and has ended up taking a job at PlanRVA. And when I met her probably 2 or 3 years ago now, she was doing her graduate thesis on making transportation in the Richmond area accessible and inclusive to people with disabilities. And as many of our listeners know, that is one of my favorite areas to work on. And so for probably 2 or 3 years now, Rebecca and I stay in contact pretty regularly. And we both have a passion for wanting to make transportation and the world more accessible. And so with Rebecca's involvement, I was able to get, sort of reestablished in with PlanRVA, and have been fortunate enough to do some sensitivity training for them, and do some document review for them. And then more so recently, with partnership with Baskerville. Many of our listeners know Baskerville very well. They are getting ready to move their offices to a new office space, and so I've been working with them on figuring out how do they make that office space more accessible and inclusive for their employees or anybody that may come into that space who may live with disabilities. And so I've been doing that work as well. And then there's potential for me to do some more work with them. We're in conversations on kind of putting together a longer term partnership where we could do some work together. So it's been a good reconnection, and very excited about the work we're doing.
So I guess that this is a very broad project you've undertaken here. Is it connected to GRTC, which is the local bus service here, folks?
So completely separately, I'm having some conversations with GRTC to do some work with them, do some training, do some assessments of their routes. It's not directly connected to PlanRVA, but I am having some conversations with them as well, to help make the transportation system more accessible and inclusive.
Yeah, that's a big challenge because in the distant past, I was a driver for a transit system, and accessibility was an issue back then, and this was decades ago, of course. And then there were innovations like buses that kneel. So when a bus pulls up to a stop, it actually lowers its suspension so there's access for people that have difficulty at this point. And I can only imagine that the accessibility things have been addressed even further at this point. Is that true?
You would be surprised. There's still a lot of truthfully, I don't necessarily trust public transportation for a number of reasons. One, they don't go out to the outskirts of our communities, and drivers could use some more training. It's gotten better, yes, from when you were taking part, but there's still a lot of work to improve even more so.
I guess that's good to hear the opportunities that are there and being addressed, but it's sad on the other hand that so many of them are still there. It's very slow in this in our locality, at least for folks that are outside of the area, that the transit system just rarely goes out to the fringes of the suburbs, and it's really driven by the labor force needs out there. And when they put a stop out there, it's not an every 20-minute stop. It's like a 4 times a day stop.
Right.
So that's just incredibly difficult.
Yes.
So what's next for your work with this RVA group?
Yeah, so going to continue to navigate. Going to continue to navigate and work with them on getting their office space organized properly, and so that'll be an ongoing project. And then we'll just sort of see where this work around a more concrete relationship goes. We're continuing to have conversations and sort of seeing what that will become, and I think what I'll be doing with that is like reviewing more documents or being needed, being on call whenever they need me, and so we'll sort of see what comes of that. But very excited to see that, and again, just very excited to be back plugged into to that organization because it's a wonderful organization and they do great work.
Folks should look them up and make the contribution that they can. Matthew, thank you so much for running through that with us. The things that you talked about over the past several episodes for us have been very encouraging, and so keep up the good work. And folks, support him in any way you can. Go to the Six Wheels Consulting Disability Podcast website and let us know what you think. For Matthew Shapiro and myself, it's Dr. Bob Nolly. In conclusion, keep rolling.
Thanks, everybody.